Okay, I've had several students ask me about V3 on the IXLs. Um, Before I go through a few examples here, I make sure we're not stressing out over the IXLs. I'm really making it an assignment so that the people that did a bunch of work actually get credit for it. So if you want, you can spend some time there, but worry about the regular stuff first. So what this little section is about is making sure you know how to use the slope formula. But I can use the slope formula to find a slope, but I can also use it to find a missing coordinate, and that's what we're doing here. So I could graph these things and try to figure it out that way, but I'm just going to use my little slope formula. So the slope formula goes like this. Its slope is the difference in the y values, and we could write that as y2 minus y1 divided by the difference in the x values, x2 minus x1. And so basically I'm going to subtract the y's, subtract the x's, but I will know what this is, and I'll be missing one of these four pieces over here. So let's do this first example that popped up here. So one of the points is 10a, and so I don't know this y value. And then the other point is 7, negative 10. And so I'm going to throw these coordinates into this little formula here. So they tell me that the slope is 3. That is the m. So this is 3 equals, and then on this side I'm going to end up with a fraction, but I know that this fraction has to equal 3. So if I take the difference in the y value, so I'm either going to take a minus a negative 10 or negative 10 minus an a. So I am going to do a minus a negative 10. And then if I take a minus a negative 10, I have to do 10 minus 7. So I'm going to do 10 minus 7. And so if we simplify this a little bit, we get 3 and we get a plus 10 over 3. So this fraction has to equal 3. So we can work our way through it, but this one should be fairly simple to figure out. This divided by 3 ends up being 3. So I could multiply both sides by 3 if I wanted to do that formally, but this has to be 9 because 9 divided by 3 equals 3. So I know that a plus 10 has to equal 9. 9 divided by 3 will equal this 3. So to get a plus 10 to equal 9, I would take away 10 from both sides, and I get that a is negative 1. So I'm going to put that in there as a negative 1. I'm going to make my pointer a little bit more visible here. So let's submit that and see if we get over. Super, I got it right. You would hope I would, right? So let's do another example here. This one, the line with a slope of negative 7. So slope is the difference in the y's divided by the difference in the x's. And we know the slope is negative 7. They tell me that. And so my 2 points, I have u4 and 9, negative 3. So again, difference in the y's, I'm going to subtract like so. I'm going to take 4 minus a negative 3. This y minus that y. Divided by, and I have to subtract the x's the same way, so it's going to be u minus 9. And so if I look at this, 4 minus a negative 3 is 4 plus 3, and then u minus 9. And the result of that has to equal a negative 7. But 4 plus 3 is 7. So this is 7 over a u minus 9, and it has to equal a negative 7. So I got to think, what would this have to be so that 7 divided by it would be a negative 7? Well, 7 divided by 1 would be 7. So 7 divided by negative 1 would be negative 7. So I know that u minus 9 has to equal a negative 1. And so then I can add 9 to both sides. And I get that u equals 8. And I could put that in right here and then calculate the slope to make sure it is negative 7. But u equals negative 8. Or no, positive 8. Positive 8. So I'm going to submit that, and yay, I get it right. So I'll do one more example here. This one has a fractional slope, but it really shouldn't make a difference here. So the slope equals the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. Yeah, I'm doing that real quick. The slope is negative 1/4. The difference in the y values, well, I have a 9 comma t and a 5 negative 3. And so the difference in the y values is t minus a negative 3 or negative 3 minus t. I'm going to subtract it this way. So I'm going to go like so. So I'm going to do t minus a negative 3. And then I have to do the x's in the same order. So 9 minus 5. And so I'm going to simplify this a little bit. Negative 1/4 is t plus 3 because it's minus a negative. And then it's over 4. And if I look at this side and this side, the 4's are identical. So they have the same denominator. So this numerator has to be the same as that numerator. So t plus 3 has to be negative 1 so that these two fractions will be the same. So if I know that t plus 3 has to equal negative 1, let me erase that real quick. Where's my eraser? Oh, there it is. No, seriously, I want to erase. I'm going to take away 3 from both sides. To get rid of that plus 3. And so t equals negative 1 minus 3, that's negative 4. So t equals negative 4, so I'll come over here and put in negative 4. And boom, there's 3 right. A score of 64. I don't think it'll take too much to get up to an 80, but don't even worry about that. So hopefully these examples will help you out with V3.